Hey, what's happening? So I've been teaching a public speaking class now called Oral Expressions at Columbia College since 2005. And since I think about 2008 or 2009, I'm not really sure, my final has been a Shark Tank presentation. It was based off the show, but is nothing like the show, where the students would choose their audience. Usually it would be an internship opportunity, or it could be grad school or job or career, and they would prepare the speech for that audience. And what we started doing was we did it for the first year, and I had the students. I made it as professional as possible, and it really worked well. And I said, man, it'd be interesting if we could invite professional artists to come in to evaluate the students to make it more serious, more real. And a funny thing started happening. Students started getting internships. It was really, really cool. And this was at Columbia College where I teach. So one particular year, we'll call this student Michael. And Michael, I was mentoring him at the time, and he took my class, great student. And his dream was to be on ESPN. He wanted to be on ESPN. He wanted to work for ESPN. So that was his dream. And he took my class, and it got to Shark Tank presentation time, and he came in and he had a great speech. But what happens after you give your speech and you come in and give your speech, you have to answer at least three questions before your presentation is done. And so I asked him one simple question. I said, Michael, have you ever been called arrogant before? And it stumped him. He didn't know how to answer the question. And he was playfully upset with me for about 9 months about that question. He would remind me about that question. And so about 9 months later, he comes and he finds me and he says, "Hey, how you doing, Mr. Satcher? I just had an interview with the Big Ten Network. And guess what question they asked me? The same exact question. Have you ever been called arrogant before?" And he said, "This time I was ready for the question." So that was just a beautiful, beautiful moment for that class. And that's the point of the class, to get these students ready for the real world. When they get out into the real world, they see something that reminds them of this project, this assignment, the Shark Tank presentation, and they'll be ready for it. So it worked perfectly. And so he graduates a few years later. And 3 months after he graduated, he emails me and says, "I am now working at ESPN as an editor." And he said, also, he took another one of my advices, because I talked about making sure that you are valuable, and with any job you work at, you want to be invaluable. And he says, "I'm already finding ways to be invaluable." He said, because at the time, he said, "I'm editing soccer because I'm one of the only English speaking people that like soccer." And so he says, "I've already made myself invaluable." So it's a great question about Michael doing his thing. And man, it's just an empowering story that I wanted to share with y'all. Have a good one. Peace.